connecting with us tonight. I'm Nina Sperano. We begin tonight with news that just about everything is getting more expensive. The government reports that in April, the price for consumer goods and services surged to their largest monthly jump in more than a decade. Gas prices are rising, auto prices too, and this was before the Colonial Pipeline was shut down. And just moments ago, Colonial Pipeline just announced they have restarted that pipeline and will resume deliveries days after hackers forced it to shut down. Today, the stock market took a hit as investors worry about inflation, the Dow dropping 680 points. So what does this mean for you? NBC 26's Valerie Juarez spoke with an economics professor and has a closer look at how inflation is affecting all of us.
We're a year into the pandemic and it seems like everything has changed. From work to how we socialize and now spending.
Some of that was due to the fact that last year at this time, we'd actually had a drop in prices. So some of that, the year over year change is just what we call a base effect, meaning we're measuring relative to a low level.
Noah Williams, an economics professor at UW-Madison and the director for the Center for Research on the Wisconsin Economy says, even though we've had a slowdown in economic activity during the pandemic, income levels actually remained high. A lot of that, he said, is due to the federal support, with rounds of stimulus money and increase of unemployment benefits. And the supply chain for many manufacturers are hurting. According to the latest report from Northeast Wisconsin Manufacturing Alliance, out of 128 anonymous manufacturers, 25% reported they have been forced to find new suppliers due to COVID.
So this combination of tighter supply and steady or increased demand gives rise to a potential role for prices to go up.
And with grocery prices spiking, Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin says inflation has the risk to hurt some of our most vulnerable neighbors.
Food items that they've had a hard time affording are going to become even farther out of their reach. So if they couldn't afford, or if they can't afford to shop in the grocery store now, that's going to start creating more traffic at our pantries and more pressure on them.
But Williams says we shouldn't worry just yet, as we need to see what the next months bring. Valerie Juarez, NBC 26.
Valerie, thank you. To put this into perspective, here are some historical periods of high inflation measured by a monthly consumer price index. After World War I, inflation hit a peak of 23% in June of 1920. The consumer price index spiked again after World War II. Inflation reached nearly 20% in 1947. And after the OPEC oil embargo drove up the cost of gas, the CPI reached a peak of 14.8% in March of 1980. The index has not been above 10 since the end of 1981.